Thank you, everyone, for joining today's Jobvite webcast featuring our guest speaker from TiVo, William Uranga. William Uranga is the Senior Director of Staffing at TiVo, and he will take some time today to share his 5 tips for recruiting on Facebook. You'll also hear from Jobvite's Director of Product Management, Carlos Teran. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome William Uranga.
Well, good morning, everybody. I certainly appreciate Jobvite having me to chat about some of the things that we're doing here at TiVo. And let me just make sure I got everything set up on my screen, and we'll get rolling here. So a little bit about me. I and my team here get to lead the talent acquisition function here at TiVo. We are responsible not only for full-time and temporary talent, but also for 1099, those specialized independent contractors. And we, to get you a size of our organization, idea-wise, we're about 650 in headcount, probably another 300 or so on the contingent workforce. So we kind of behave like a 1,000-person operation, if you will. And it certainly has grown over the years and changed a lot. It's been fun to see that. The other part that we are certainly doing here is certainly creating a lot of programs, a lot of tools, a lot of messages that are helpful in engaging the talent that we seek out in the marketplace, and also trying to make not just hiring managers more here in our ranks to be more like hiring leaders, and so that they see this as part of their career growth, not just a problem that hiring somebody will make go away or mitigate. And in addition to that, we of course do the measurement. Recruiters are pretty big on goal setting and driving and accomplishing things. And so we certainly do measure our efforts, certainly share the results. And it isn't just about getting, if you will, a butt in a seat. It's certainly about also bringing the best of TiVo's culture forward. So we do surveys and measure our candidate experience as well as the hiring client's experience in working with us here on the talent acquisition team. And then, of course, the most important thing that we're doing at a very high level is we're certainly looking to shift both ourselves as a talent acquisition team, but also our company moving forward as the marketplace continues to dynamically change, new opportunities come up, and, of course, challenges that need to be addressed, and that things that we've done in the past don't always translate into things that ought to be done in the future. And so those are very, subjects for a very lively discussion. I have a snapshot here of our recent Christmas party that we had, particularly for the kids of the employees here at TiVo, and we had a tree in which people could write on these TiVo-shaped cards of things that they're thankful for. And give you, I couldn't include all the pictures, but kind of give you an insight of how we look at things, which is a little bit of irreverence and fun. Here, I couldn't show you the picture, but I had one of somebody actually just having the word bacon on one of those cards, and of course, Silicon Valley probably wouldn't be complete for you engineers out there. Somebody also put Control-Alt-Delete on one of theirs, so I think that was another part of the Christmas tree. So, thought I'd start off with how I might view social media if I were to have asked my 15-year-old son how would he kind of compare and contrast, because social media, social recruiting, however you want to phrase it, there's certainly a lot of activity and a lot of discussions, a lot of experts out there. And to explain what our environment here is at TiVo, we don't have a social media department. I don't have a social media point person. It's become more of a, at least from our product and service standpoint here at TiVo, we have marketing that certainly owns that. And that's probably the strongest presence we have of social media. The rest of it tends to be very individual. We certainly do some of that here from a recruiting standpoint, but I'll explain a little bit about how we've addressed it in our unique situation, and hopefully you'll be able to learn through these 5 tips, maybe some things that you should be mindful of or take note of and maybe take advantage of in your own environment or alone for your department at least. But we certainly do have a social media policy here, and there's certainly designated people that do represent TiVo from a social media standpoint. And it's a real simple document that doesn't really go as far as some other companies that are out there that actually have a whole social media marketing program and a lot of tools that are certainly out there for people that offer this as a complement or sometimes a sole focus of what they do in the marketing department, let alone what they may do in the recruiting stuff. So I don't come at this as being an expert. I am certainly much more of a practitioner, and we have simply had to be really realistic or sober in our assessment of what social media means here at TiVo. So with that in mind, and kind of teeing off a little bit from our reverent humor, I wanted to show you how you can kind of compare a lot of the social media platforms taken, if you will, from a 15-year-old boy's point of view. And so I share this in that context. So I'll start off with a few laughs here. All right, but on to some of the tips. And as you know, from a recruiting behavior, a lot of the recruiters out there are very driven, very numbers driven. We certainly are here, but we tend to focus a lot on stats. We look at different measurements, whether it is time to hire, time to fill, number of hires per channel, and so forth. We also get caught up in a lot of models in the sense of what our workflow should be, what sort of programs we should institute, all to kind of scale our efforts or multiply. Maybe if you have a small team, your force, your impact, and be able to identify talent and engage talent. And of course, we're always looking for that ROI. That's certainly what our executives here at TiVo talk about, and that makes it very kind of bottom line driven. And to show you one of the stats we have at our career page at TiVo, here's certainly how we found our talents in the prior fiscal year, and I need to update it for 2012 already, as that's right around the corner. But as much as we try to measure things, my first tip for you here that we've learned here at TiVo is we need to keep in mind the human factors, that there are people that make decisions sometimes purely upon emotion. Sometimes it's beyond other things that we don't always see in some of the numbers. And social media, and particularly with Facebook, is no different. What got me really thinking and talking about this as a group is I was reading a blog post by Seth Godin who talked about things that are bought versus sold. And what he was referencing is saying, a lot of people talk about buying orange juice or deodorant or tickets. There's just not a whole lot of interaction with things that are bought. The value's understood. You certainly do need marketing, if you will, in order to present that brand of orange juice or buy those tickets for that particular concert or event. But there's not a whole lot of convincing of a person that's going to be purchasing that they need this or want this. On the other hand, the whole items that are sold, the big ticket items, whether it's life insurance or a car, and I would even throw in changing one's career or organization that they're with to a new company or organization, that's something that certainly needs to be sold. And I think a lot of us, from a recruiting standpoint, just post, and some people say post and pray, some people just post and assume people are going to buy what you have to offer out there because of your name of your company or maybe the sector you're in, and that may be true. But for a lot of us, particularly if we're competing with certain level of talent or in certain segments of the industry, we actually really need to be mindful that we're having to do selling. And if you're just simply going to be posting opportunities on a place like Facebook, that's not selling. That's just thinking people are going to buy into the opportunity, and sometimes we don't see those results. In fact, we often don't see the results for our effort in that aspect. The other thing, too, that is related to this is that we often treat social media as some, incredible new tool, and we treat it as a broadcasting channel. You've probably seen, for example, on Twitter, there's just accounts that do nothing but post jobs. Well, that's also not, that's treating it like things are going to be bought from a job opportunity standpoint. Social media, and I would argue certainly with Facebook, we found is much more around the engagement, much more around the questions or sharing. And I'll get in a little bit more about some of those factors. And if we're not treating our approach to social media and Facebook as a conversation, people don't feel like they're going to be listened to, won't respond and engage. So mind the human factor. So this platform, this Facebook that's had the movie made after it from called The Social Network, there's some news or there's some posts out there that I have listed below that talks about the uniqueness of Facebook. And besides the numbers of 800 million and growing users of Facebook, the fact that it is overwhelmingly used on mobile devices, and it's international to an ever-growing degree, it's still very personal. It is about who you know and sharing aspects of your opinions, your life, your experiences, and it's very high on kind of the emotional connection, which certainly doesn't lend, as I mentioned in the first tip, to simply forget about the human factor and think that they're going to respond to just information being posted on there. It's not as much of an intellectual or logic or feature-driven place that people will engage you over. But it is interesting that there are some groups and affinities that people have there, and so a little bit of the blurring of the line between work or skill sets do take place. I have a graph here that shows what people like. If you were to take the action of liking something, this is what people tend to do. They tend to focus on wall posts, pictures, and comments. Note where the brand Facebook page is. It's down there at 9%. Certainly not of the major activities that people tend to like over. Of course, what's also interesting is why they do it. They don't do it necessarily for getting a job. Doesn't show that up here, but they do want to show support. They do want to support what people are being said as far as an idea or picture. And people do like brands, but that's about half as much as the upper two activities as well. So remember that this is, again, about engagement, that is personal, and that just simply looking at people's actions because they click on likes, you may think you have people that will actually do something, but translating that into an action is a lot more difficult. So with that in respect, some of the further changes that are going on Facebook illustrate this. One is the whole timeline product. If you haven't heard about it, Facebook is bringing out the ability to view a person's profile in kind of a chronological sequence in addition to just by photos or just by friends and so forth. So that gives a much more complete picture of a person, and it's not necessarily, that doesn't support a company, if you will, but certainly does support individual profiles. In addition to that, they're actually going to be moving away from like. So like will not only mean little, it'll eventually disappear. They're going with more verb-oriented identities. So you can see over here to the right where they're going to be going with once and owns. And this will actually indicate more action. And so wouldn't it be great to know people that want certain things, and if you knew that that was reflective of the sort of profile of people that did well in your company, you could actually do some much more pinpointed advertisement or engagement, if you will, of that talent. Not to complicate things too much more, but we're also, from a recruiting standpoint, aware that our corporate, particularly corporate marketing, at other companies, and certainly the case here at TiVo, are also have some tension. That we have our corporate page that is selling our products and service. They usually don't like recruiting to kind of sneak in there and confuse matters by putting in employment opportunities, and therefore confuse visitors or people that are fans with whether or not they're being hit up for a job or whether or not they're going to be as interested in getting a product if we are talking about job opportunities and hiring people. So that's it's just a sheer reality that here at Facebook you don't have a built-in solution like LinkedIn does with the LinkedIn Recruiter product. So what can be done in light of that? Well, there's certainly plenty of options. I had mentioned the group page and for products and services of your company. and we certainly have that, but you also have other companies that do dedicated pages for talent. As you can see here, Adidas is a recognized brand. They've certainly done a great job in putting up their opportunities, and they have them broken down into 3 different major categories. The challenge with this that we ran into at TiVo is when we did try to do a page similar to separate from our products and services, but without having a dedicated editor or social media point person for our team, the challenge of curating content and putting up a calendar to publish the content and respond to inquiries was just overwhelming. We ultimately had to close down that page. So it lets you think we've had nothing but a smooth, impeccable run in working on Facebook from a recruiting standpoint. There you go. That was kind of a hard lesson learned for us. There are other options, including doing advertisements. So on the right-hand side of your home page on Facebook, you can certainly see hopefully more and more relevant advertisement. We certainly did that here with going after certain engineering talent. And we did learn kind of it's the Google pay per impression or click model. We found that it worked when you had your brand name, of your company, your company name, and then also about the specific skill set you were looking for as opposed to just some quick and cute phrase because of the limited text. We had a lot more click-throughs and a lot more interaction and applicants as a result of that advertisement, paid advertisement being used. There's also the marketplace, which is built by Facebook, in which you can post jobs. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Craigslist, if you folks have posted on there for some skill sets. It just doesn't seem to get as much foot traffic, if you will, or responses. So we've tested that, and we may come back to that again in a year or so and see where it is. A lot of what we've done with Facebook is tested. If it works initially, we kind of expand it. If not, we kind of put it on the shelf, and we might reference it later to test it again, but certainly don't just set it up for a full year and let it run. You can also source on Facebook to a certain degree. There is some information out there. I show a snapshot here of an affinity group, particularly from the Hadoop standpoint for those engineers that are being sought after. These are groups that have members that have identified their interest or certainly commitment to that engineering segment of the population. And you can certainly look for folks that based upon the company that they're with, if they identify it, and or location. The challenge is not everybody completes their profile with this sort of information. It's not as expected as it is within LinkedIn. So until Facebook kind of makes that a little bit more involved from those fields being completed, it's a little hard to get as comprehensive of a sourcing effort or having it be as fruitful as we would like to see, obviously. And there's another one I'll get into a little bit more down the road, but you certainly do have plenty of options. The key thing with whatever your options are from if you're recruiting, whether it's going to be sourcing or certainly advertisement, the key thing is to be showing what your assets are. And a lot of what we realized here at TiVo is what did we have that we could really share? For some brands, it's actually the product and service. And TiVo certainly has that. So what we did in our particular case is we ended up adding a tab or a page, and now it's an app for where people can see jobs in the left-hand corner. You can kind of see that underneath the TiVo logo in a green highlighted box. If people are interested in jobs, you're going to see that on the nav. Click over, and you can see your opportunity. So if they're there for the product and service, great. We're not going to kind of mix things up in that sense. But if they're interested in jobs, they can move over there, click on it, and get some results from there. The other thing that maybe if you don't have products and services that page just yet, it could be showcasing who you have. And in that case, I'm referencing thought leadership. Maybe there's folks that are just really well known within a particular industry that that your company operates in, or particular skill set or discipline. If you have those people that are already out there, and they obviously attract a certain following of people that care about similar things, maybe those are the people that need to be talking about your opportunities in the context of challenges and or initiatives or opportunities down the road for your company, and therefore the fact that you're hiring makes sense to be sharing in the context of maybe that individual's profile, or maybe a fan page, which is another option that Facebook gives you. The third thing is probably more showing your culture, and that's about how you operate. And every company has some sort of culture about how you actually get things done that make working there different than your competitor. And that's really helpful if you just don't put that in text, but you actually show it through pictures. So I have, here's a screenshot. Somebody, one of my colleagues, had taken a snapshot of an inflatable or mascot, or a brand, if you will, up on a nice yellow chair. I think we were testing it for some event, and he posted it up on his Facebook. And now it's just sharing because it is of interest to him, and therefore the people that follow him, that are part of his friends group, or maybe even a subset group, will get to see that and get a sense of what it's like to work in the TiVo environment. So if you have that going for you, be sure to put that front and center and think about how you might be able to show that. The other thing, whatever you plan to do here, whether it's showing who, what, or how, is to make sure that you identify the areas or folks that can help you with that, and then collaborate and plan about how you can creatively feed that, because that will continue to attract people to you. And the better idea people have about products and how incredibly helpful or awesome they are, or cool they are, or who you work with and how knowledgeable they are, and how much they're changing the industry, or how the uniqueness of your culture, that will continue to be a drawing magnet that you can showcase here on Facebook. So let me go ahead, and that's what I was referencing as far as feeding your tribe. With regards to the next tip I have, just remember there's plenty of third parties that you can also use, not just using the dynamics or features that are built by Facebook, but there are certain items that are offered that are complementary to Facebook as well. One is the in-platform capabilities that are done by third parties. Some of you are familiar with those, such as Be Known, which is done by Monster. Branch Out, Work For Us, including Jobvite, has the ability for you to have in Facebook platform ability to interact with candidates or people that are interested in applying for you. You also have other products that enable you to capture Facebook profiles, which take you, in one sense, on the back end away from Facebook, but allows people to use your social media profile without having to create a whole new profile. And the neat thing with this is that you can use this as a dynamic resume. Usually in your applicant tracking system, you have a static resume. It's a document that's been uploaded, and that's a snapshot in time of somebody's experience or skills. But with a social media profile, that's something that people are usually updating and adding to as they move. And it's getting to the point where you can probably start predicting when people are going to make job changes. To be in the right place at the right time for that, that's really kind of forward thinking. There's companies that have products to do that, such as Talent Circles and Findly. And then last but not least, there's also the ability to publish to Facebook. And that's not done in any sort of broadcasting way, but really enables individuals to post opportunities within their wall of activity or their status, or even directly message a certain group of friends or directly to an individual. And I have a snapshot here that shows that for what we have visitors coming to our career page, and allows them to send a notification, update status, or post to the wall for Facebook. So it's neat because we certainly have gotten a number of hires. In 2010, we had a total of 117 hires, just crediting Facebook in all the ways that we have job opportunities presented, both on the corporate page, as I've talked about earlier, as well as people publishing to their own profiles. And then this past calendar year, we had 126 hires credited from that, so that's a nice 8% bump for our hiring year over year. And then since you're not only swayed by just the number of hires, which is good from the final results, but just the number of applicants as well that we've gotten from Facebook, and the conversion, we've certainly made strides in that area. In 2010, we had a 47% conversion of applicants from the Facebook sources to hires, and in 2011 we had 73%. So part of that's to credit internal messaging, clear descriptions, and making sure that we were getting everybody on the same page as far as the skill sets we were looking for, and clarifying just how easy it was to share on Facebook within their own streams and groups. So the fourth tip here that leads into is just to make sure that you're teaming up with your resources you have on the inside. And I include those as far as in-house departments. We work pretty closely with our marketing group, not just from a social media standpoint, but from creative and collateral, and really appreciate them bringing the best of the brand's attributes into the employment brand that we look to present. And in fact, we certainly use this. You can see this from a mobile standpoint. Over here on the right-hand side, we have a screenshot of what we've created as a mobile-friendly browser. And we are doing this particularly for the engineering internships here this coming summer for TiVo, and are fronting that with a QR code that leads to this website. So people can check out the quotes from actual interns and hiring managers. They can see the details of what's involved for the summer internship, and then they can also be able to indicate that they're interested with that orange button on the right, or on the left-hand side, be able to share it with their friends through their own social media preference. In addition to that, look for those folks who are going to be able to help with the credibility. So that goes to a lot of the thought leaders, and not just for the outside, but also internal leaders, to be setting the example of sharing stuff through their networks and talking about it within their departments or their group. We certainly make the rounds to let them know of the impact, and we also do that by sharing the wins of the hires that we do make, and who's to credit that here at TiVo from our employees' standpoint. And then that goes hand in hand because we've certainly enabled all of our employees here, since we are a customer of Jobvite, to have their own account. And not only is that incredibly important for them to upload referrals and what have you, but to constantly share with how easy it is for them to post to their Facebook the opportunities, not only what are they doing, but the job opportunities as well, since they have the most credibility with their friends, not just some central mouthpiece, if you will, from the talent acquisition team. So we've certainly distributed the ability to share and treat this recruiting is everybody's responsibility and opportunity to share what they're proud of here at TiVo. So to that end, we use the Jobvite publisher. I think we're now up to about a third of our employees that have set up some sort of publishing capability, which automatically sends out job opportunities here at TiVo to their social media platform of choice, including Facebook, and they can control the job's location, so they can talk about stuff in New York versus here in Silicon Valley. They can talk about or publish only marketing versus engineering roles, and so on and so forth. And they can also control the frequency. So we really put the sensibility of what they want to share and how frequently they want to share in the individual employee's hands. And then in addition to enabling that will be talked about a little bit later, the Jobvite's Facebook app, we already have about 7 or 8 folks who have already adopted that and are using that as a way to be prompted or reminded about who they know and how they might fit or map to certain opportunities, whether they're full-time or whether they're temporary. So getting here to the last tip, wanted to kind of sum it up in something to start off with avoid, which is the bright, shiny object syndrome. That's what BSOS stands for. As a second way or a second example of not doing everything perfectly the first time, we realized sometimes the hard way that we couldn't just rely on assumptions or past accomplishments. And one particular one, we realized that we shouldn't be relying on paid advice. And that mistake came as when we hired a high-volume technical firm to work with us from a sourcing standpoint, and they had recommended to offer from a referral standpoint, or as an incentive, if you will, big screen TV. And they had seen it done elsewhere, and they thought everybody will want this. Well, we went with that idea and offered not just one. We figured we'd offer two. And we came to find out that really nobody was interested in that. If anything, it was almost demotivating. Not only did people not make referrals through the Facebook and what have you, but they basically became a kind of an internal joke. So lest you think we had this all figured out, there were certainly some painful lessons that I've learned along the way. But what can be done? Well, one is certainly avoiding not invented here syndrome. So just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean you automatically dismiss it. But it certainly does take efforts and work to remain relevant. And that's the fifth tip here. We certainly found out that just because we have a lot of goodwill, a lot of folks like to be helpful, we certainly have to put a lot of thought into how we customize what we do here, whether it's communicating about sharing stuff on Facebook from a career standpoint, or engaging people that do apply as a result of being referred to us by Facebook. We have to constantly be on our toes. It isn't something we can just sit back. So one thing that we do to support that is certainly we set aside some of our budget to test things in the sense of creativity and take chances on new ideas, new technologies, new approaches. The other thing, too, is we look to borrow brilliance, and this is a reference to a book by David Murray about borrowing brilliance, in which his premise is really simple. There are no new original ideas, that everything has been done before and maybe have done in a different culture, a different time period, a different industry. But the trick or the opportunity is, if you will, is looking at those solutions or accomplishments in those different arenas and figuring out what elements of those make sense in solving your problems today. And I will certainly say that when you do have that is certainly to test and refine. So we're always in a test mode of, will this work this time? Let's do some A/B testing on it and improve it further. And one of the things that we realized in kind of borrowing ideas and testing them, and that has continued to be relevant, was instead of just talking about features of the ability to publish and engage people on Facebook, was to talk about the actual results in human terms, personal terms. And this was one message that we sent out a few months ago. We certainly were highlighting that we had a referral program going on here for a particular set of positions here at TiVo. But as you can see from the highlight standpoint, the new factor that we saw was talking about telling stories. And in this one, it kind of redacted the actual names, but we talked about how two people got reconnected and how not only I got reconnected and ultimately got referred and hired here at TiVo, but a little bit of the backstory of how they knew each other. And this we found out resonated with people because A, it was actual names that a lot of people knew within certain departments. Two, it actually talked about the sort of companies that they had worked at before. And those combined got people thinking about what other companies they had worked at, people that they knew. And we've had people talk about how they've been in the same band, how somebody was actually somebody's mentor in switching industries or even roles or disciplines at another company. And there was always that thread of, I got a note or a message, or somebody contacted me, or somebody forwarded me the opportunity. And that's just, always encouraging, not just only for us, but for our peers, our fellow employees that are wanting to share opportunities. And certainly we have a referral program that gives them recognition, not just, if you will, only something in the paycheck from a bonus standpoint. So those are the 5 tips that I have here. So to kind of summarize, don't forget, with all those incredible stats out there, the human factors of how you engage people on Facebook. Even with the actions or the data points you have on Facebook, such as like, remember that it means little and will continue to mean less as things move much more to being verb-oriented as far as the wants and owns, and that we will start to get more complete pictures of people's personalities and preferences down the road as Facebook continues to evolve. When recruiting, if you will, or sourcing on Facebook, make sure that you note your assets and that you show the best of what you have, whether it's your products and service, whether it's having thought leadership in a certain respect, or that it's your culture. But that you need to show that creatively, you need to show that consistently to be attracting those people and, of course, engaging them. Fourth, wherever possible, team up with the internal resources since they already get your brand, and certainly help them in putting forward the best foot from an employment standpoint. It's not to say don't use external resources, I don't mean to imply that, but there's just something about fostering internal excitement and camaraderie with your marketing department, your creative, web, and PR department to get the best ideas that working for you in talent acquisition. And then fifth, remember that whatever accomplishments you have had, you need to continually work to be refining those, testing new ones, being creative, so that you, not just in general from a recruiting standpoint, but certainly on Facebook and with your employees, to be relevant. That's something that is always going to be an opportunity or green environment for you to be striving in. So best of luck on that. I certainly can be reached through a variety of different ways and be happy to chat with you folks afterwards online. And if I can be of any further help, that's certainly how I continue to learn as well and how we've benefited here at TiVo. Not just working with Jobvite, that's certainly true, but also in this particular respect, recruiting on Facebook. So thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you so much, William. And now we have Carlos Teran, Director of Product Management at Jobvite, and he's going to give you kind of a live demo real quickly on how you can use Jobvite to optimize the way you recruit on Facebook.
Hi, everyone. So Jobvite has a lot of tools that allow employees to recruit on Facebook and recruiters to recruit on Facebook. I'm going to walk you through our brand new Facebook app called the Jobvite Facebook app, which allows employees to install the app and stay engaged with the referral process all within Facebook, and allows job applicants to read about jobs and actually apply all within Facebook without ever leaving the Facebook platform. So you can see here that this is my homepage of Facebook, and I've already installed the Jobvite app in this case. And if you're not familiar with installing Facebook apps, it's actually a really simple process. It's not a download or a time-consuming process. It's a simple 2-click process, and you've got it as part of your Facebook experience. And once you install apps, they live as a permanent part of your navigation on Facebook. And you can see here that I've got the Jobvite app listed first. And this is pretty cool on the employee side, that it's always there front and center for them to quickly engage with Jobvite and referring their friends to our customers. So I'm going to go into the experience. So as an employee who's installed the app, they'll be able to see available open jobs at their company, and also see how these jobs match to their Facebook friends. And each customer's experience will be tailored for their open opportunities, and so that their employees can easily browse available jobs at their company and share them with their friends. So I'm going to go into this software engineer position and show you what that looks like. So once you click in, you can learn more about open jobs. You can learn all the details about a particular role. You can share this job easily on multiple social networks. You can share directly with a particular friend on Facebook, post to a Facebook group, or tweet this job, or update your LinkedIn status. But in this case, I'm actually going to share it directly with a friend that Jobvite has already matched this job to. So Jobvite takes the work history and the education information available on my friend's profile and makes a match with the job description and job title of the open opportunity. So I'm going to click into my friend Glenn here and send him a one-to-one message about this job. So this is a private message. It's directly to Glenn. It'll go into his inbox on Facebook. Nothing will get posted on his Facebook wall. Nothing will get posted on my Facebook wall. So it's not spammy in that sense. It's a direct personal message that can be personalized for your friend. So in this case, I'm sharing a Jobvite job. Since I'm a Jobvite employee, I've got the Jobvite instance of this app. And I'm going to send this Jobvite opportunity to my friend Glenn. So you see how easy that is to do as an employee, and also be able to share this job with other matched candidates. So these are all matched people for this role. And now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to switch over to what Glenn sees on Facebook. So this is Glenn's homepage, and you can see here he has a new message on Facebook, and that new message is from me. I'm going to click into that message, and as a passive candidate or as an active job seeker, Glenn can stay on Facebook, learn about open jobs, and actually apply all within Facebook without ever leaving this platform he's very familiar with. So I'm going to click into that message that I sent him, that private message again. And as a job seeker or a passive candidate, they can actually learn about all the details about this job, all on Facebook, share this job if it's not a good fit for them with their friends on all their social networks or any one of their social networks. But they can also apply for the job all within Facebook without ever having to leave Facebook or actually even installing the app. So there are no hurdles for job seekers in this experience. So job seekers can apply with all their detailed information, kind of the standard fields that most applications require, insert their resume, apply with LinkedIn. We've also built the ability for them to import their Facebook information. So we take their employment information from Facebook and their education information and attach it to their application so that recruiters and hiring managers can read details about what they've included on Facebook as far as their professional and educational experience. They can submit the application all within Facebook, never again having to leave the platform, and be able to track the application. So I'm going to actually go into the application section of the app, and you'll see a list of applications that Glenn has already applied for and the current status of that application. So you can see here he hasn't been selected for this, and this is a new application that he recently submitted. So this provides clear visibility for the job seeker on their job status, and they can do this all within Facebook. So staying up to date on their applications all within Facebook is new and innovative, and it hasn't been done before. And even the ability to apply for a job all within Facebook is something we're leading here. So that's the new Facebook app. if you have any more questions on this, feel free to learn more about our product, this product, and other Facebook and social network products and social recruiting products on Jobvite.com.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you again, everyone, today for joining this event. Again, we encourage you to visit us at www.jobvite.com to learn more about our recruiting platform and applications. And thank you again, William from TiVo, for all the insights and tips you shared today. And we look forward to talking to you guys on the next event. Thanks, everyone. Bye.